all major American cities. Well, Senator Lindsey Graham's Judiciary Committee hasn't done much since he took over the committee, but he is now pushing ahead with a gift to the biggest corporate lobbyists in this country: the Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, the Koch brothers, big tech. He's pushing ahead and doing his master's bidding, all at the expense of American taxpayers and American working men and women. Senate Bill 386, it's already passed in the House as H.R. 1044. It would remove green card limits on workers from other countries. What that means is that big countries like India and China, and they're no bigger in terms of population, will be packing our green card lines with as many H-1B visa workers as they like, all eager to take U.S. jobs at significantly lower pay. A real blow to the American dream. Take a look at these top 10 companies that sponsor H-1B visas. Of them, only 5 are based or incorporated in the United States. 3 others based and incorporated in India. And sources at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services say if country caps are scrapped, as is the intent of Senate 386, Indian citizens will be taking about 90% of the employment green cards for the next decade or more. They currently take about a fourth of those cards every year, far more than any other country. Also troubling for our middle class and American working men and women, the Center for Immigration Studies' Jessica Vaughn tells us, quote, no one is sending the Indian H-1B visa workers home even after their temporary work visas expire. Congress took care of that by allowing endless extensions if they've applied for a green card. This legislation is a dream for outsourcers, for cheap foreign labor, and their employers. And it is a nightmare for American workers, our middle class, and for the nation. Senate Intel Chairman Rhino Richard Burr, by the way, doing his part. He now says he'll work swiftly to begin this year. Well, joining me now, former Reagan White House political director, leading Republican strategist, Fox Business political analyst, Ed Rollins.
Thank you, sir.
Who I never interrupt, ever, ever. Great to have you here. Let's start with this economy. It just keeps going and going.
And it's going to get better when the rate get cut. My sense is this is a long-term. Tomorrow. This is a long-term thing. This has been Trump's program from start to finish. And unfortunately, he's not getting all the credit he should be getting for it. But that's
Ronald McDaniel said that too, right. Ed. I think the hell with the credit. What I really do. I think people understand that this is cause and effect. There is a relationship between the person you put in the White House and the direction of the country. And it's a bright, positive, strong direction.
We don't have to go back very far to see a failed economy, which was the president that was here before. So my sense is...
And the one before that.
The one before that. So the reality here is I think it's Trump's great strength. I think it's, and as you say, I think most people realize, and as time goes on, will realize that it's not just a short-term, it's a long-term fix.
Well, it's short-term, long-term. What they want to do is see that their lives are better than before the election of 2016. They're seeing it almost without exception. And are you better off than 4 years ago? No, you bet your
no
bippy.
Question. And why would you ever want to go back? And
especially with these folks, they're parading from the radical Dems.
Well, all they want to do is spend more money and add more federal programs, not necessarily benefiting the working guy, gal. But the reality is that's what the campaign has to be about, and that's what the president has to sell.
Lindsey Graham. I can't even figure out what's going on. He's doing nothing investigative. He's doing nothing profound. He has done so little since he's been there now for just about 7 months.
Right.
And now, by God, he's going to outsource American jobs. He's going to push H-1B visas. He is going to serve corporate America, the Business Roundtable, the Koch brothers. Did I mention Tom Donahue and the Chamber of Commerce and big tech? I mean, it is a sellout of everything this president stands for. Buy American, hire American.
Well, they're all one and the same. I mean, I don't care which group is front.
Who's all the same?
The Chamber, the Koch brothers, all the rest of them. They all have the same common goal, and that is to get cheap workers from foreign countries. They don't want Americans to have these high-tech jobs, and they don't think they're qualified.
Screw them.
And the reality
this president is about turning that around. So how is it that he gets through the House, Bill 1044 there, 39 Republicans step forward to join in that vote? I mean, it's outrageous what's happening. Well, and Lindsey Graham, for God.
He has to.
And Rand Paul.
He just has to say right today, the bill comes to me, I'm going to veto it. And he has to start vetoing these things and make it very clear up front that this is not what I promised. This is not the American public wants. And at the end of the day, it's not good. It's not good for us.
What damn fool would think that they should, bend,
Well,
anyway.
The problem is, as we've talked, I mean, the critical thing on immigration is you secure that border. We haven't come close to that. You don't let the business.
He's winning so much.
He's winning so much.
The Supreme Court says build the wall now. I mean, the 9 justices, well, actually
5 and a 6 and a 6
are
potential.
joining the chant
and a
for
6,
build that
6
wall.
potential. And as we've talked, once you get the wall secure, which may be 2 years from now, what have you, then you can start talking about immigration reform, and you don't give up the thing that the business community wants.
You don't even have to talk about it, because the first thing is, if you don't secure that border, you will never control immigration. Absolutely. And everything you do and say after that is a joke. He has to secure that border.
Well, the first step then is...
And he's, by the way, making amazing strides, whether it be the third safe country program with Guatemala. We don't know for sure what's going on with Mexico, but so far they've been cooperative. I mean, we're seeing real progress. The problem is we're also seeing more illegal immigrants cross that damn border than a year ago.
Sure. It's still a porous border in spite of all the efforts of the Department of Homeland Security. The reality is that to get their people through, and they have to basically make this thing. But the president has to veto this bill. If this bill gets through the Senate and he signs it, then I think he's hurt himself badly.
As always, Ed, great to see you.
Thanks
for being here, Barney.
My pleasure.
I didn't interrupt you once. Did I?
No.
I don't think so. Ed, thanks so much. Violence continues in the Mexican border city of Tijuana. In just a expert Michael Pillsbury to take up the latest developments. Also, more breaking news tonight. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff announcing that North Korea has fired multiple missiles off its east coast. This launch coming only 6 days after North Korea fired 2 new short-range ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan. Since 2011, Kim has launched 4 nuclear weapons and tested 4 nuclear weapons and fired more than 90 missiles. Well, joining me now, Gordon Chang, columnist, author, senior fellow at the Gatestone Institute. Your thoughts first on what to make of the reason for what appears to be, again, more missiles, short range or otherwise, fired by North Korea in the course of a week.
Well, Lou, when it comes to China and North Korea, there are almost no coincidences. We know that the trade talks in Shanghai are not going well for the Chinese, so I wouldn't be surprised if these launches were really a plan coordinated by Beijing. You know, Beijing is going to try to dangle cooperation on North Korea in order to get concessions on trade. The Chinese have done this so many times in the past. And, you know, with President Trump, it just does not seem to be working with them. So I think the Chinese are probably getting a little desperate.
It isn't working. It absolutely isn't working. He's told them to go about their business if this is the best they can do, because it's just not acceptable to him.
Yeah, you know, that 3-part tweet today, you know, is really refreshing. Nobody talks to the Chinese like that. Nobody except for a guy named Donald John Trump. And this is really important because the Chinese need to hear not only what he said, but the way that he said it, because this is a change in the way the United States deals with China, and it's a change long time coming. It's a really good thing today, Lou.
And you know who really needs to hear this? The Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, the Koch brothers, Wall Street, big tech, who've sold out this country, whether they like that direct language or not. That is the truth of what they've done. And they persist in it, and they would give anything for this president to say, you know what, I really wish Hillary Clinton were here, and what do you guys think? I mean, it's ridiculous what they're doing. And it is evil. It is evil that they would do this to our country, as they have over the course of the past 20 years.
Yeah, for far too long, you have had the elites in this country really align their interest with people in Beijing and not with the American worker, not with the small business, not with the United States of America. And so, under this president, we are seeing a change. And then that's important because, for the United States, we've got to defend our society. And it's thank God we've got someone who's doing it now.
We do. And we also have now a judiciary chairman, a Senate Judiciary Chairman by the name of Lindsey Graham, who's trying to sell out, again, the American worker, sell out to cheap overseas labor and the companies that exploit them, whether it be Tata, whether it be Emphasis, whether it be Accenture, whether it be Deloitte and Touche. It's absurd what the American worker has to contend with. This president vowed, buy American, hire American, and then Lindsey Graham is pushing this bill after the Republicans, at least 30 some odd of them in the House, went along with a bill in the House and passed it. This is outrageous.
Yeah. When you look at American policy over the last 2 decades, it really has been the American worker last. And that's why you've had these communities across the country devastated it. And that's why we have an opioid crisis. There is just no hope in some of these towns. And so to put Americans to work is absolutely job one. And whatever it takes, Lou, we got to do it.
Ed Rollins said the president should veto this, period, if they do pass it. I think he's right. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to, as both of you said, you got to secure the borders, you got to make sure the American worker is protected, and you got to do all these things, and that's including preventing legislation, which is just not going to help Americans.
Yeah, it's incredible to see Rand Paul and all of these phony baloney rhinos in the Senate fall in line with the Koch brothers. And the Chamber of Commerce and Wall Street and tell the American people go straight to hell. This president is all about getting it done. He's a man of action. And the action required is to tell all of those senators and all of those congressmen who would sell out the American worker, please go to hell. You don't have to say please, but it would be nice. Gordon, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lou.
We'd like to hear your thoughts on all of this. Share your comments. Follow me on Twitter